You're listening to the Home Education Podcast.uk. We're a family of 5 living and learning in the northeast of England. Join us every week for home educating tips, ideas and stories. Here today we have Baby G, who is 17 months old, currently eating an apple, may or may not make a noise in the background. She's always very welcome, of course. We also have Toad, who is 6. You can say hello at that point.
Boo.
Okay, it is Halloween nearly, so that's fair enough. And we have Frogger. Are you with us, Frogger? Frogger is 7.
Hello.
Hello from Frogger. You're very welcome to join us from wherever in the world you may be. Toad is currently having a fit of the giggles. Please do excuse that. Also is eating an apple, so if you can hear some munching in the background, but we like to encourage fruit eating. Everybody likes a good apple, especially after tea, which is how we are enjoying it. At the moment, it is October, it's nearly Halloween. Here, it's been very cold this week, but today was a little bit milder. We've had a little bit of fog, but it's lifted, and we've been enjoying a bit of sunshine, so we've been very lucky. Very big welcome to you from wherever in the world you may be. If you're a regular listener, then you're most welcome. And if you're a new listener, thank you very much for finding us. Do share us with your friends. Leave some feedback. And please do not suck the apple though, Toad. Can we stop doing the sucking? It's a little bit noisy. Munching's fine. Sucking's a bit noisy. I know it's very juicy. Okay. On today's show, we've finished another book. We're going through them like mad at the moment. We share our scores of the week. Join us on Runswick Bay Beach for the last leg of our family walk and find out what we've been learning about in our Egyptian topic. Okay, so this week we have been reading a new book and we finished the book. Frogger, can you tell us what the book was called, please?
The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon.
The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon. And who was it written by?
David Almond.
David Almond. What a cool name. Can you imagine being called something like after your favourite nut? Like Sarah Almond. I always wanted to be called Sarah Sparkle when I was younger. And apparently, according to Facebook, I'm not allowed to be called Sarah Sparkle. It's not a real name, apparently. But anyway, if I was named after my favourite nut, I would be Sarah Peanut Butter, which isn't actually a nut. It's a legume. What would you be, Frogger?
I don't know.
What's your favourite nut?
Don't know.
You enjoy walnuts. How about a walnut? Frogger walnut. Toad, how about you? What's your favourite nut?
None.
No nuts.
Peanut butter.
Frogger peanut butter. Toad peanut butter. Or Toad apple. Maybe name it after a piece of fruit. Your favourite food. Anyway, moving
Toad
on.
orange.
So, Toad orange. Yeah, excellent. As long as you didn't get muddled up and become orange toad. That would be interesting. So, The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon. Frogger, can you tell me a little bit about the main character?
There's a boy who climbs into the moon by standing on an apartment block and leaning a long ladder against the moon and climbing into it.
Yeah, he climbs right into the moon. Does he do it alone? Was it his idea?
Yeah.
And it's all about a book about having ideas. Toad? Hello, Baby G. Toad, were there any other characters or did he do it on his own?
Yes, there was Fortuna who fired herself out of a cannon. For no reason.
Yeah, she fires herself out of a cannon to entertain people back in the 1920s, I think. And she goes missing, just completely goes missing because she flies through the hole in the moon. There's some very interesting characters in this book. Can anybody tell me about Molly?
Molly's an artist, and she was once called Mabel. She was once called Mabel, but then changed her name to Molly, and she lives on the first floor.
She does. She's a very interesting character, and you're never quite sure whether she's telling the truth or not.
No.
Or whether everybody has an imagination and what is actually happening. It's a very creative story. Toad, did you enjoy it?
Yes.
And would you like to read something else by David Almond?
Yes, no, yes.
Yes, no, yes.
Yes, no, yes.
Okay. He does have some other books as well that we are going to check out at some point. What did you think of the illustrations that were by Polly Dunbar?
They were cute and good.
They were very cute. I really liked them. I liked the fact that there was, it wasn't too long a book, and the chapters were fairly short. If you've got an early reader, they could probably read this on their own. The illustrations are very colourful and very cute. And there's lots of illustrations in between the text, but it's definitely not a picture book. So it's a good bridge, I would say, for somebody going between reading a picture book and reading a chapter book. It doesn't take too long to read. It is very imaginative, and it really encourages creativity. So what would you give it out of 5 stars? Frogger?
5.
5 stars, being absolutely amazing, couldn't be better. Okay, and Toad?
The last number you ever get.
I did not get any of that. Please tell me again.
The last number that you ever get.
The last.
But you don't get every number, so I don't know.
Okay, so how about if we narrowed down the numbers to just between 1 and 5?
100.
Okay, that'll do. So it's a big thumbs up from us, yes?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. David Almond, The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon. Highly recommend it. Not too long. Very enjoyable. Great for early readers. Moving on. This week we have been on quite a long walk. Where did we walk to, Frogger?
We got the bus to Saltburn. To Sandsend.
Sandsend, yes.
And then we walked back.
Yes, we did. Do you know how long that route actually was that we walked?
No.
It was approximately. Do you? Go on then, Toad.
6 miles or 7.
It was about 6 miles, yes. The part that we walked was just a small section of the Cleveland Way. The Cleveland Way runs between Helmsley and Filey, skirting along the North York Moors National Park. Along that route, you're going to go through stunning Sutton Bank, Jurassic coastlines, and even historic buildings such as Whitby Abbey and Scarborough Castle. Do you know how long the Cleveland Way actually is?
No.
It's 110 miles.
What then?
So if we'd continued walking it, we would have had another 104 miles to go. Now, it's very, very popular, and we see a lot of walkers all the time. And what the walkers do is they set off from Helmsley, end up at Filey, or the other way around, and they do maybe 20 miles a day, and then they stay overnight, which is why the B&B in our village is always popular with walkers, because it's one of the stops. But they don't carry all of their luggage with them. They often organise somebody called a Sherpa who comes to their B&B and collects their luggage and then takes it to the next hotel or bed and breakfast or guest house for them. Pretty cool. Anyway, so we decided to walk a little section of it, and whilst we were walking, we decided to have a little chat about what we could see and what we were doing on Runswick Bay. So here is me and Toad walking along a very sandy Runswick Bay. No, not a sandy Runswick Bay.
A very rocky Runswick
I heard
Bay.
an exceptionally rocky Runswick Bay. There was no sand in it.
And where there should be sand, it was clay mud.
There was lots of clay, yeah. So here's me and Toad walking along a very stony Runswick Bay beach. At the moment, we are at Runswick Bay, and we're right in the middle of where the bank comes down from where the houses are and where the Cleveland Way continues up through the hills. And this morning we thought, let's head out for a walk. So, being lucky as where we live, we started at Sandsend, and we are heading back home now, and we're going along the beach to Runswick Bay, and then back up to home. We're doing about 6 miles altogether, which is pretty cool. And this is all Toad's idea, wasn't it, Toad?
Yeah.
Why did you want to come along here?
I just wanted to do a big walk.
Just felt like doing a big walk. Yeah. So that's what we're doing, but at the moment it's very hard going. Why is it so hard going?
Because there's lots of walks.
there are so many rocks. It's as though the beach has suddenly disappeared and all that's left are these giant rocks that we keep slipping and falling over. It's interesting because it shows how the landscape has changed, and if we look up to the shoreline on our left, which is a kind of grassy verge, if we look up there, Toad, that's where there used to be lots of houses. And they were summer houses and beach huts, and then they all just collapsed. And as you can see where we're walking now, you can see all of the mud and the clay that has washed down from the fields, making its way down onto the beach. And unfortunately all of those people have lost their fun summer houses. How do you think that might make them feel?
Sad.
Yeah, I think it definitely would. The sea is roaring in. It looks very, very rough. We've walked about 4.5-ish miles so far, and so far Frogger and Tone and Baby G are doing exceptionally well. How are you feeling?
Fine.
Are you raring to keep going? Because we've only got about 1.5 miles to go now. We're almost on the home straight.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a nice idea. It's one of those things that you can do as a family that doesn't actually have to cost anything. We've brought our sandwiches, we sat down and had a little break. Thankfully the tide had gone out whilst we were having our break, and we had to make a bit of a scary dander across the rocks in order not to get swept away by the tide, which is gradually going out. We found a little bit of sand now. Oh, what have you spotted?
A rock.
A rock. It looks a bit like a piece of quartz.
Or toffee.
Or toffee. Would you like to eat it?
Yeah, but I wouldn't now after Amelia.
If you ate one, what do you think would happen to your teeth?
They would get rusty.
They'd get rusty?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'd have any teeth left at this point?
No.
No. Do you think they'd break, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Oh, what have you found now?
A Olympic shell.
Olympic shell. Is there anything in it?
No. Just sand.
Just sand. Never mind. There are some very interesting rocks to have a look at. You can see all of the different types, lots of different lines going through them, lots of different sorts. It's a very famous beach for trying to find jet as well as fossils. We've seen lots of ammonites whilst we've been walking. Okay, so we're going to finish off the last bit before our final leg to the shore is heading up Runswick Bay Bank. Are you ready for the bank, Toad?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell everybody about the dog. What happened to the dog?
She fell into a big pond.
She fell from
one.
a deep pond. Yeah, she fell from the side of the cliff, slipped all the way down the rock and fell into the water, and everybody went, oh! But then she was okay. So anyway, we're about to go up this bank. Are you ready for the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on. Okay, we had a great morning. However, there was one part that was a little bit hairy. Don't know if you remember, but we have a little dog called Daphne. What happened to Daphne?
Well, there was someone else walking their dog up the Cleveland Way from Runswick, but they went the other way. And Daphne decided to follow it, but instead she went off the edge of where we were walking and fell into a pool. But luckily she's a good swimmer.
Yeah, she kind of did a funny little fall down the side of some very slippy rocks. If you do decide to walk along this way, make sure you've got good footwear. You need good footwear because it is a bit hairy. And actually the section where we were at, the tide had just gone out and it isn't accessible when the tide is in. So Daphne tried to follow the other dog and she slipped. And there was a big scream from the people who had the other dog. Ah! And they really panicked, whereas we were too busy thinking, are we getting the children down safely? And Daphne did a tumble into a big pool of water, completely sank beneath the water. A couple of seconds, boop, there she was back again. But thank goodness. And she was happy enough, but she could have easily broken a leg or at least hurt herself. I mean, if it was me, and I bruise like a peach. So if it was me, I would be covered head to toe in bruises and would probably cry. But what did Daphne do?
She wasn't bothered. She loves getting wet.
Yeah, she just shook herself off and continued. It was like, oh, look, a beach. Hooray. Must be nice to be a dog like Daphne, because we often discuss about how big her brain might be because she's a little bit daft. And it must be nice just to go, oh, look, a rock. Oh, I've just fallen over. Oh, look, I'll just shake myself off and there's a beach. Oh, food. Oh, hello, Paul. I'm excited. Yeah. Imagine what a simple life that would be instead of all the things that we have floating around in our brains. Especially mine. Mine's full of nonsense.
Mine's full of everything I want to do. I want to finish off the 2 stories I'm writing. I want to make more bracelets. But I don't barely have time to do all that.
There's just not enough hours in the day.
No, there isn't.
Mm.
And it flies by. And the last week just absolutely flew by.
They always do. And do you know, the more you go on through life, the more quickly time passes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't pass any faster, but your perception of time does because you've experienced more of time.
Probably.
So whilst we were on Runswick Beach, did you find anything of interest?
Oh, yes. I found lots of devil toenails. And you know the cool thing about the devil toenails was I found one devil toenail with a really small devil toenail attached to it. Then I found a rock of devil toenails.
Wow. So what is actually a devil's toenail?
A devil toenail is an extinct type of oyster from the dinosaur times or even before that. I'm not entirely sure. And its real name is Gryphea.
Gryphea. Where did you learn about that?
I think I remember when Dad looked up what devil toenails were called, and Google said they are called Gryphea. The real name is called Gryphea, and they're an extinct type of oyster.
Wow, you're really knowledgeable. Thank you. I'll try to remember that. We found lots of them on the beach, or you did even, didn't you? I was too busy trying not to fall over on the rocks.
Well, I was just looking down on the rocks for interesting things and also for a safety footpath. But when we got back home, I went on our way home, my feet were so sore because we were walking on rocks and it was uneven. My feet were just so sore.
Yeah, it was very hard work walking over that, and you're right, because it is uneven and it makes you have to really concentrate and it makes your muscles more tense. That's why when we reached Runswick Bank, I really struggled. I'd been fine up until that point, and then Runswick Bank is a very steep bank, and even though I'd been carrying Gwyn for about 4.5 miles, I wasn't carrying her at that point, but it's just as well because I don't think I would have got up the hill otherwise. It is very steep and we were tired. I was really hoping to get some blisters. I thought, oh yes, my feet are hurting, I'm going to have blisters to show for my walking, but no, I didn't.
And that happens sometimes when you've been walking or you've hurt yourself, and you start crying or something, or your feet have really hurt. It sometimes shows not a sign of nothing to prove it.
It's so true. So true. And the other annoying thing is, as I've just said, I do bruise really, really easily, ridiculously easily. And I'm constantly finding new bruises and thinking, how on earth did I do that? And I have no idea at all. No idea. It's just one of those things of life. So we really enjoyed going on our walk. If you would like to do the Cleveland Way, have a look at the website. There's clevelandway.co.uk where you can plan your route and find out about the accommodation, how long it would take you, or just do a small section. We are going to go, next time we have a free day, we are going to go in the opposite direction and get the bus to Skinning Grove. Skinning Grove has a beautiful hidden beach. If you haven't been, please do go there. And we're going to walk back from Skinning Grove to home. So look forward to sharing our adventures of that day with you. This week we've been learning about the Egyptian gods and goddesses. Obviously the Egyptians, did they have one god or do they have lots of gods?
They have lots of gods.
Lots and lots of gods. And who is your favourite god?
Ra.
Why is he your favourite god?
Because he's the sun god and the most famous god and the most powerful god of them all.
You think so? By the power of Ra. So Ra is reborn every night. So every night he goes down to the underworld and then is reborn as the sun going up and down. I mean, without the sun, the world wouldn't exist. We wouldn't exist. There'd be no life. So it's a pretty important job, and he was regularly worshipped. Toad is not available right now, but his favourite god was Taweret. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Please do let me know if you know how to pronounce it. And that's the goddess of fertility and childbirth. But I think Toad likes it just because it's a hippo.
Probably.
Hippos are cool though. Although we did see some at Flamingo Land, they didn't do anything. Apparently they're really lazy. But they kill more people every year than crocodiles.
Really? Probably because
Really?
they're so heavy. They've got big mouths.
Huge mouths.
Yeah, they can eat them and they can probably squash people.
Yeah, and they tend to lose their temper quite a bit. It should really be a bad-tempered hippo instead of a rhino. You know, when people talk about animals having certain personality traits, maybe a hippo should be on there as being bad-tempered. Okay, my favourite goddess, I've got two really. Isis, who is the goddess of rebirth. I think it's pretty cool. And I also like the sound of it. And I really like Anubis, who's the god of the underworld, just because it's got the head of a coyote. And I like to say the word Anubis. Anubis. Do you know if you say any word over and over and over again, it's pretty soon sounds ridiculous? Try it. Say
Anubis. It does actually.
It does. It works. You try it with any word. Try it at home. Tell us what you've been saying over and over again.
A bit like a day where I just said dareto.
Oh yes, of course. Your Spanish word that you were saying over and over again, which I think was maybe inspired by Doritos, which we don't eat very many of, but everybody else really likes them. I'm not a big crisp person.
We are.
Yeah, everybody else is. I think it's the one food in the world that is a snack food that I do not actually enjoy eating. I don't like any of those sorts of little pastry things. You get them in packets sometimes. You know, they have star-shaped ones and they're like tiny little pastry biscuity things. Oh, ugh. I don't like those. And I don't really like crisps. Really.
I'll do anything for sweets.
I'll do anything for sweets. A bit of Oliver there. Okay, moving on. I won't do anything for sweets. Actually, I don't like hard-boiled sweets either. Really don't like hard-boiled sweets or Haribos.
Oh, they're disgusting.
Oh, you don't like Haribos either, do you?
I hate them.
Does anybody really like Haribos? You know, you go to a party like, oh, here you go, have a packet of Haribos. And we always go, oh no, what am I going to do with those? Great. And they stay in the sweet tin forever.
And they always advertise really good on the front packet. They always say, Happy World of Haribos.
Happy World of Haribos.
Grown-ups and children really like them, but I don't think that's true because they're more or less just like these little sugary jelly sweets which you're just eating because they're sweets, but they're actually disgusting.
Yeah, you are not to be sucked in, Frogger, by the power of advertising. So, well done you for resisting the power of advertising in bad form to Haribo and for all those silly sweet advertisements. Right, moving on, it's time to share our scores of the week. Toad's disappeared, but he did tell me that he enjoyed having some friends over to play today. They made a den out of cushions, they did some drawing, and they had the Lego out. They had a great time and their friends didn't want to leave, so that was really nice. But Frogger, what was your score of the week?
Can I just say the walk and finding the Devils Toenails?
Finding your Devil's Toenails on the walk. We had a very good day and I'm really pleased that we did it. It was also great that it was free and we enjoyed spending time together as a family.
I also picked some heather.
You did pick some heather. I think I found a bit of it on the floor before, even though it's 4 days later.
And it's upstairs.
Heather, do you know much about heather?
No, all I know is it's a rare feather and it's a rare type of flower and people think it's lucky, like horseshoes are rare and they think they're lucky.
Is it quite prickly?
Not that prickly.
Does it smell of anything? You know, lavender has a very strong smell.
It smells of green. It smells of plants.
Oh, there's somebody's phone going off in the background. I hope that hasn't interfered. It just smells of plants like the outside. Yeah. Is it a kind of bracken of some sort, like a fern that spreads out on the moors?
Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah, I think there's lots of it on the moors and they burn it back quite often. They have to because it helps do something to protect the landscape and what's on the landscape. You know what? I'm not entirely sure. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to find out about Heather. You can find out some Heather facts, and we can present them next week. Okay, so one last question is, what's better than war?
Everything.
Everything. Is there anything in particular that is better than war?
Sausages.
Sausages are better than war. If you've read The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon, you're going to be shouting, yeah, sausages are better than war. You're going to know exactly what we're talking about. If you do not know what we're talking about, then go and read David Almond's The Boy Who Climbed into the Moon, and then you'll know exactly what we're going on about. Anything is better than war. Okay, do you have any final thoughts? It's just me and you. Everybody has abandoned us.
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else to say either. Thank you very much to our lovely loyal listeners for all of our shares, for our comments. We love to hear from you. Let us know what you're up to this week. Have you got any walks that you'd like to recommend, or any little funny stories that you have about when you were out walking, for example, as we do with Daphne falling over? Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Join us again next week. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be talking about next week, but we do have a Halloween party planned at our house on Sunday, and we have some more Halloween activities going on the day of Halloween itself, so I'm pretty certain we're going to have plenty to talk about. So, anyway, it's goodbye from everybody who isn't here. Everybody has disappeared. We've been abandoned. And it's a goodbye from Frogger.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that's a wrap. We're all done. We're all done. Boop, boop.